Beautiful angels. Okay. Okay. Sorry for the rough introduction here. I am going to sit here. I'm going to get my water. I'm going to maybe take some supplements. And I'm going to attempt in this live to share my story. So essentially, I've created this channel and I've felt like I've wanted to share my personal. I want to fix my hair before I get this going because this is really upsetting me. So I think it's time for me to share my story. So I'm gonna attempt it here, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll just delete this live and do it again in a video. But I felt like trying to do it first live than in a video where I kind of think a little bit too much, perhaps. I don't know. So yeah, and maybe this will give some explanations and reasons for why I've created my channel, because they are connected. There's been, I'm just sitting here at night, resting before bed, and there has been a lot that has currently or recently in my life brought me to places that have made me think more about my past and my life and my story, and healing that and working with that. And I was thinking tonight and was just like, I think that I'm going to share my story in the best way that I possibly can. So hello everybody. Hi Polly, how are you? Hi Dane Stone, Michelle, Cloudy, Cyrus. Or is that Sirius? I think it's Cyrus. Hello, welcome in. Welcome to my channel. So I'm going to share my story. This channel is a lot about mental health. It's a lot about spiritual health, just wellness, life, fun things, beautiful things, food, flowers, nature, inspiration, wisdom, especially. It's meant to be a guidance, which is what I do now. So I am a life coach. I started this business about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. Been doing it for about 5 years, and way before that. I've always been in service for people. I've always been somebody that people have counted on or leaned on. As that happens, Cyrus. And so, that's a big part to why I've created my channel. But there's been a lot that I haven't really shared personally about myself, and I would like to. So, doing it on the internet is kind of funny, but I think that it's an important part to who I am and why this channel is here, and it's also very inspiring. It's inspiring for other people. And it's inspiring to myself. So I grew up. Hi Lucas, hi everybody. Okay, I'm gonna focus though. So y'all can listen. I grew up in a pretty normal-ish setting. I had my parents. Um, in the beginning of my childhood, I remember everything feeling pretty good, pretty normal, pretty um, like pretty pretty just like okay. There were elements in the family. There was elements to like my there were elements in the family for me where I felt at a very young age like very trepidatious, meaning fearful. Um, just kind of fearful to speak my voice. I didn't talk until I was 2. I practiced in my room, which is a very, very rare thing. I studied psychology later in life, and it's a very rare thing. It's normally with like geniuses, like very, very high IQ, where a little child would be knowing to practice until they had their words perfectly, or if they're in a situation of feeling unsafe. And yeah, normally in uh, traumatic or abusive situations. So um, yeah, so for me, everything was pretty good. There were some elements that were always there. Like my father was pretty harsh for me personally, kind of is for others. So I'm not gonna even say that. There will be things that I say that are probably gonna be like that, or I'm kind of putting it on me, and there are reasons for that. Um, yeah, he was very abrasive and controlling. We were not allowed to do much, very strict, which is how a lot of fathers can be. But it's not how every father is, and it's a very like yelling to come home, yelling to get off the phone. It's a very just anger in general creates a very unsafe feeling in a household by anybody. Um, and my mother is an amazing person, was an amazing mother, and always has been. Um, she has also had her faults and flaws. My mother was an alcoholic, and so there were those two kind of really big elements. My parents divorced later, around when I was maybe 13 years old. Um, they split up prior to that divorce, and it was a messy divorce. So it was a traumatic ending. It always is, but there are some ways where staying in the children's lives, things like that, make it much easier for the people that are going through it, and um, that didn't happen with my parental figure. I did not hear from them for um, quite a long time, about 2 years, and barely after that, maybe once in a while, like really like maybe twice a year, and then became a little bit more part of my life. And I was kind of the one who encouraged that. In high school, I had reached out again and tried to pursue that connection. But it was really about like 10 years that went by with us being really like seeing him maybe once a year or maybe something like that. And not talking in between there. There's just been a lot of things that have been mindless and hurtful. So because of perhaps people's own things. And I'm not really going to get into explaining why, and other people's stuff. I'm just going to share my story. But yeah, so that kind of came back around through my desire, and I had written a letter essentially saying all my hurts, and just really putting it out there, and it was responded to pretty well. Our connection had grown from there, which is a very beautiful thing to think of now, um, because it was a way of me sharing how I felt and being heard. It was very distant, but it was still there. Um, and working with how people are is very important. And that's a huge lesson I've learned recently. So later in life, at the end of my high school and into college, I had been drinking a lot in high school. I partied a lot. I went to a very big party school. Um, and I got into that lifestyle quite a bit. And there was a lot, though, that was actually before that. This is when this happened. So I had begun drinking in high school and continued that. This was about, I'm going to talk about it, a moment in time that was about a semester into my college experience. So I was 18 and a half. And I had been taking birth control. I had been taking diet supplements that were like through online uh, avenues, like the really like hydroxycut. So things that were advertised at the time. I had developed very, very strong body image issues, body dysmorphia, and eating control issues. So I began to constrict my food. And that came prior to college. That came actually from somebody I was dating, just feeling very self conscious from a comment that they had said. And it spiraled into that behavior, which actually very quickly spiraled into full blown eating disorder behavior, bulimic and anorexic. So I was not doing so good. And I I found, like, yeah, the diet pills, and um, there was a lot of things that I was going through, and the relationship I was in also was ending, just came to an end, and it was very uh, unsettling. There was a lot of cheating within that, which is how my parents got divorced. Um, and it was not on my part. So that was very difficult, and I think triggering on levels that were like very uncontrollable for me at the time. But basically, within a matter of time, all of those things combined, my childhood wounds had caught up to me and gotten up to me in ways that I also had no idea about. Like, I really thought that I was just struggling with myself or the breakup, but it was definitely like that relationship I depended on because of what I had gone through. And then when that ended, I was completely untethered, and I felt very uncomfortable. And I had a very hard time. I was about to go on a trip with my family, and I could not do it. I had been dealing with anxiety for a while, and I felt like I was losing my mind. And there were times before that where the relationship and the cheating and the pain really like of my past and continue it was not my past yet, it was still my experience. um and living every night in a bit of in a lot of discomfort, so much discomfort, because of being around somebody who is constantly inebriated was just enough to make me like lose my mind and feel very unsafe and um, freak out. And so I did mentally. And I tried communicating. I wasn't doing well and where I was at. There's a lot of I don't want to be here kinds of thoughts. Um, and that communication did not go very well. I think, from what I remember and know and have heard, there were times that my family was trying to be there for me in that moment, and there was also some things that were said that were not helpful. And so that's a big part of the story is the path of somebody who is emotional and is having a hard time, and there's a whole journey to that, to figure out and to find the ways to cope and to find the things that are the healing and the solution. And that can be in many different ways. Um, and there's also the understanding that a lot of this stuff that people go through is also a product of their environment. And when we aren't surrounded by people who can support us emotionally, it is very common and normal and regular to have a difficult time with that. And I would like to that's what this channel is about, is just kind of giving people a break and giving them love and support and knowing that this is a space that will allow safe space for that. Um, there's there's a lot on this channel that, I mean, I'll stick up for anybody in the chat. Anybody who's been here knows I will. But for the most part, um, it's for sensitive people who also have been through similar things. And there are things that I didn't really realize, like how much of what my experience was because of my environment. And the things said like in that night were like the worst things that anybody could say. And it still hurts. I would be lying if it didn't. It's something that I am older now, and I just was living with family for a while, and actually did voice things that had been there. And it kind of came through voicing while I was at home, problems that I had with my parent continuously drinking, and their interactions with me and their interactions with my friends and other people. And so I approached my parent and basically said, this like isn't cool. Um, or at least I'm not going to be okay with being treated this way. And I think it finally brought a lot to their attention, and they chose to try to change that after a long period of time of that pain being there and present, for me and then for them because of what they're doing. So that was a really beautiful thing, and a really one. I know it's not beautiful; it's been hell, but it was a beautiful part of voicing myself. And there were some other amazing changes to that, talking about communication and things like that. My parent did stop drinking, and are figuring out what they're doing with that. They have had some about a year after. So the whole process with a parent who has an addiction problem is extremely um, unstabilizing. and it makes somebody who has gone through that as a child to have to deal with their instability and insecurities, um, especially around trying to fix other people or trying to be there for people when it's not their job, because that's most likely the role that they had, is kind of being subjected and inappropriately used and almost like taken from. Um, so yeah, this is a little bit of my story. Um, so through that, uh, so yeah, recently there's been a lot of really cool changes like that. There's also been a lot of things that have been almost like more traumatizing. So um, having I'll just say what was said when I was younger. So when I was in college and going through my breakdown, of my life, which is really like a breaking open. But it couldn't really be that then because I didn't know what was happening. I was young. So it's like happened now or within the past 7 years to recently. So yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. But yeah, so the thing that was said then, um, when I said like I can't go, I feel like I can't even, I don't even want to be here. I'm having those kinds of thoughts, like really dark feelings, of pain, which I've shared on this channel. I'll share it now because I don't want to mention that, not this, but whenever somebody feels like that through my experience, it is because there's so much pain. And normally it's emotional pain, but it could not be. Um, that they can't cope. Like there's a crashing down. It's like the energy field can't take it. And it's really just about too much pain. And so realizing like I'm in a lot of pain, what can I do to help that, heal that? What can I give myself that will make my life be what it is that I would like it to be? Um, and there's so much to do with healing pain. I'm not touching that right now. Um, check out other videos. But so I forget where I was going. Yeah, so basically that's the way to kind of accept those feelings and deal with them, because it happens all the time, which is unfortunate. But being a human being is hard, as somebody said. It's not always easy. It's going to be rough, probably at some point for everybody. I know no one who has had it super easy. I really don't. Yeah, I really don't. And so it's just it's not like accepting, okay, this is how it is. It's accepting that at times if it gets really hard and you're feeling a lot of pain, that it's okay. And to allow a thought like that to simply go and to not latch on to it, at least that's been for me. There are some really, really intense forms of depression that like I've heard, people can't, like, I never feel like I want to hurt myself. That's not a concern for me. And if anybody ever feels like that, please reach out to the hotline. I've called them just to talk, just when I've been having a hard time. And it's not what they're for. So they'll get you off real quick. But it's a really great resource. I'm actually going to be working for them and volunteering for them soon. But yeah, it's just for my advice, if somebody isn't in a place of self-harm, just accepting that those thoughts that kind of come and go of immense pain and trying to release it in all the ways: crying, walking, music, friends, therapy, um, sleeping. But there's a lot to crying. Okay, crying has so much to it. It releases all these neurotoxins and tons of neurochemicals like norepinephrine and cortisol that just run through us like stress when trauma is active. Um, So it's really a very valuable tool, probably one of the most. Um, and the thing that was said to me when I was having these moments, if I will finish, was a parent saying, just do it then. Like, just do it. Just get rid of yourself. And those are the kinds of words that stick with us for a lifetime. And it's not really about the words, it's about the negligence, and it's about the not understanding of how to be there in a better way. It's about the insecurities that I see and feel and felt then in my parent from saying that. The inability they have to be emotionally there, the incapability that is there from their own stuff, um, the freak out that they feel from my freak out, whatever it is, the huge lack of sensitivity and the slight narcissism. So that's what I would call that. And this is my story. And yeah, I'm sorry to say that, because I do love these people, but this is why I'm doing this, is to basically have my interpretation of it out there. And the person who said this is like probably the least of that, but maybe not in the family, like the least narcissistic. We are all narcissistic in some way or another. But I personally, I'm so empathetic that I could never actually be that narcissistic. And I don't mean that in a comparison. I mean, like, I couldn't be very narcissistic. I I can honestly say, I cannot see myself ever saying that to anybody. And it could have been from what I've been through, but I feel like just I always have been very sensitive to the emotional environment that I've been around. And that's because of growing up with an addict and a very angry person. Um, and there are a lot of reasons to that. And there's a lot of things that we feel as children that we have no idea why. But I've learned a lot throughout my years. I've learned, like with one of my parents, with their anger, they didn't really want to have children. And when it came around to that point of life, they decided to do that. And when it came around to me, they kind of like backed out. And so I think, like, just of the whole process, they were very, very less involved and all of a sudden very unhappy. And so I think that I got born, because children in the womb feel what's happening. I think I got born into an environment where I already knew that something was off and that I wasn't safe, and that especially like the female wasn't safe. Like, um, damn, I've never actually like put this all together, so this is really cool. I've never said this like out loud or really like even in my own head. Um, I knew about my dad and everything with what happened with when I was born, but yeah, I've been a huge fighter for the female, for feminine way of being, for like their full ability to live the best life that they can. Um, and I think that that's because of that for a lot of reasons. My mom birthed alone. Um, she had no support, and the doctor didn't even come in. So it was literally just me and my mom. The doctor did not think that she would be having the child, and she went not like off on a break for a few hours, and my mom was giving labor and almost birthed the child by the time she was back. So I think that that's a huge part to why I it's all perfect timing and perfect like divine placement for me, because I am a very soft person and I care a lot about those things, and it's just the perfect design, I guess, for me. But also like the most painful lessons and design, because I that's like a nightmare to me. Like, that's an absolute nightmare. Just like not having my father, my mother not having her husband during the time of my birth, him doing what he did and leaving, and my mother raising us alone and kind of suffering. And um, there's a lot that I fought for the emotions. So in my own life and in my own reality, I've been like a groundbreaker and a generational curse breaker, by being able to voice these things. My mother was never really allowed to voice herself when my parents were together. Um, she got made fun of a lot by my dad. I really did not like that and still don't. There are a lot of reasons why I have a problem with that. But yeah. And as of recently, while being home and going through what I've been through, there's been a lot that I've been through with my mother. And that was with what I've shared with the addiction. Um, that was with the communication things, and they did not always get better. There were things said, old things were brought up, like what was said when I was younger, with my breakdown and just do it. Um, and more things were said that were like that. So there were there were times that were very, very difficult, and I had a very difficult time emotionally again, while being in the situation of the environment, while being in the situation of your childhood experience. Just a forewarning, could possibly trigger a lot, and it will trigger a lot if you're there for a while. That message is like very important for like 20 to 28. I mean, there's a lot of people, especially in the state, that are like with their family. But that time when you come home from college and are figuring it out, or coming in and out, or if you're there at all for a period of time, like, check up on this channel, okay? Because I got you. And a lot of the support here is for things like that. And I'll probably be talking about all this more. But yeah, very difficult. And a lot of things got brought up and changed and healed, which is like incredible. I never thought that that would happen, but it's not any more stabilizing. It was very traumatic for me to voice these things, to have them taken as an insult when I would say what was wrong. And there's a lot about that. Like, while being older, I can honestly say that, like, I really pray and know that for me in my life, there's no way in hell, like, I'm gonna have not that kind of a situation if I ever have children. There is something to, like, the boomer generation. It blows my mind a little bit to not be able to tell your family members, when you have a problem with something. And there's a lot of boomer generational people from 60 to 80 or 60 to 75 or whatever it is, that it's like impossible. It's like a brick wall. Even if you live together there all the time, to say like, hey, I really don't like this. Like, is there something that we can do to not have this happen? And it could be like a very small thing. It's like they never had the right emotional support themselves, that everything that is an emotional issue is an attack. There's a very, very, very low level of emotional availability in most human beings, man. Like, at this time and at the time of like older generations, like, I really pray for the future and for that to change. Everyone creates their life the way they want it to be. My life is most definitely not like that. Um, I include only emotionally available people into my life, and that's about it. Because of that, because of my past, and because of things that I've gone through, it's the most important thing that you could do. It's the most important thing that you could do here on earth, is to involve like loving people into your life. Um, yeah, but there was a lot that I've been through, and there was a lot that I went through in recent time, like recent years, very up to very recently, a few months ago. So I, yeah, I definitely value voicing yourself in the family. There are lessons to that. You have to do it at people's own pace. If people move at a slower or less emotional space than you, pace than you have to work with that, which is um, heartbreaking in its own way, because we all want to connect as deeply as we can, and especially with those that we feel like are very close to us. And that's normally our family, at least one person in that family. And I've been very close with one person, and then this has all happened that has made it um, very difficult, very conflicting. And it's shown for me how I need more. I need more emotional availability. I like to have conversations about things that aren't um, I like to not have to like avoid emotional subjects unless it's like something that isn't really understood. And for me, I reflect quite a bit. That's why I do what I do. Like, I can really figure something out, and I really try to figure things out that are emotional. Most of the times we don't, because we're busy. If we did, if we had time, most people would. And that happened a lot in this dynamic as well. But yeah, it was very difficult to voice certain things, um, voice why I was having a hard time. There was a time where I would freak out. Like, I had freaked out many times throughout this recent time with my family, and the change and transformation, and trying to communicate something and it being judged or taken incorrectly. Um, there are many times where I live a pretty natural, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in magic. I believe in angels. I believe in God. Um, and I would refer to many of those things and it would be judged. So that struck like chords in me that I didn't even know were there. But it felt like a crucifixion, if I'm being honest. And I'm not calling myself Jesus. It just felt like a sacrifice. Like, there were times where I would say, like, this is what happened in this for me. And it would be like, yeah, for you and for you only. Like, very not like I was like an enigma. And that was made to be very clear, that I was different. And I I would 100% agree with that. Like, I kind of made myself that way, or allowed myself to be that way. I've allowed myself to be as wonderful as I could possibly be. And that makes me believe in happiness and magic and taking responsibility for yourself. And that has separated me from other people who don't. So, yeah, there are times where I had explained and said, like, I remember other people in our family, my father would get called. My mom would call him when things got really bad between me and her because she couldn't really deal with it, which was a lot for me. And I wish that I would have just like backed out, but my dad would come over and try to act like he cared. I don't know. Because he didn't like actually care about me. He cared about my mom. So I think there are lingering feelings. And I'm just letting it all hang out here. Because this might end up being a part of a video that I keep and is my story. So I won't try to share too much like that. But anyways, the intentions of which to calm down the situation that was not at all the intention. That was not at all the action that was taken. For example, I was asked, what is upsetting you? And I would explain, well, I'm very triggered because we've been talking about these past things and it's a lot. It's very hard. I'm not dealing with it very well. I'm sorry. Well, what things are really so upsetting? Well, we're talking about these things are triggering. It's this, this, and this. And that would be very difficult to say, like when you left or when you cheated or when I didn't hear from you. And the abandonment that was there creates an anxiety that is insane. And in trying to communicate, you can feel that. And that's what I was feeling. And so, what is so upsetting? These things that we're talking about in this conversation before he would arrive. And I don't know, probably like 3 or 4 times this would happen. And I was told that, like, that's BS. Those things never happened, or that's not what happened. And that I will be honest is a whole different level adding to the trauma that I've already gone through. It's a huge dismissal of the truth, and it's very concerning for me. And I'll have to see what I do with that, because it's just very, very concerning for somebody to be in such a state of denial or admit finally that they would rather kind of act like nothing has ever happened. And that gives no space for the child in the family who may not be a child anymore, but the people that you birthed to feel supported in this reality if you don't honestly come clean to them when they bring it up to you. So, yeah, people are only capable of so much, and I know that, like everyone has their own capabilities. But I think it's also completely valid, like within that whole spiritual reality that I'm so involved in of acceptance, is to actually also, and this is very new, you won't hear this often, but it's very real. And the most successful is to just be very honest and call people on their shit. At least in your own head, like at least in your own space. Um, to allow yourself to say that's wrong is very important. And to give ourselves the validation that we need. And to, for me, like allow myself to know that I deserve more, way more, and way better in my life. And to create the distance that I need from things like that. and possibly to say exactly how I feel at some point too. Live your life. Do what you want to do. Um, Experience what you want to experience. And when life is hard, experience it in the way that feels the best for you. So, yeah, that's a bit about my story. I mean, it's a bit about like, there have been times that I've had where I've felt the childhood wounds of like stuff and recent, like current life stuff. And I felt similar feelings of that I felt in my past of, um, like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is almost like, how much easier would it be if I wasn't? And it's a gnarly, gnarly experience to have that and to like honestly have that. But it, like, because I know I just shared about that topic the other night. Um, there is no way, there is no way that that's an option. Like for me, and maybe for anybody else, like everybody has free will, but um, it it's easier when you just can accept that life can be really hard, and you can accept your heart to be broken, and accept the challenge within this life to be strong, and accept the challenge within this life to say your piece, and to have no fear, um, and to live in a way that makes it feel beautiful and special for you, for me. Like it's been a trip to re-see those kinds of feelings or thoughts of my past or like current hardship. And um it's very clarifying in a way, because I think when we're young we can exacerbate those thoughts, and even when we're older, like I'm still young, but I've been around this ring a few times, that of the emotional one, that that's something I know deeply, is that like handle the pain, like purge the pain, you know, and get rid of that as much as you can. And that can take time. That can take a series of time, but it can also happen within a day and a moment, and it can get better within a moment. And it's a constant ebb and flow. Um, but yeah, that's a big part of my story that I have wanted to share, is like my journey through um, having those feelings and thoughts. When I was younger, I actually did go to the hospital for that. During that night, I freaked out and a family member called the police on me. So I went into the hospital and it was horrible, like horrible and horribly traumatic. Having a difficult time emotionally, and then going with police into um, like a mental facility, even if it's for just like an overnight hold, which happens so much, is a very traumatizing experience. Maybe it could be better, like with certain things, making sure that there's like a really good psychiatrist, a really good therapist, that they follow up really well, that everything's said to you as it's happening. But for the most part, they're not like that. They're very understaffed. There are very unhappy people working there. And the care isn't like constructive enough. And so there can be a lot of problems with that. And there's just a lot of stigmas in general with that, with being in there, with the people in there, with going out of it. But it can happen all the time. Just from somebody not feeling well or having a trauma triggered, it can happen. It can happen very easily when your hormones are out of whack, plus that, and taking any kinds of drugs or um, like supplements, which is what I was taking, but it was like a drug. Hydroxycut was methamphetamine, essentially. So, yeah, just it's such a lesson for me on just like, and always has been like feeling like checking on how you feel and like seeing how you feel and being able to like better manage feelings and things that we're going through many different coping mechanisms rather than just kind of allowing ourselves to go there and to feel that. Um, but yeah, so there's been a lot that I've been through that has curated this channel essentially. It has made me into the person that I am and has made me want to help other people and give like a helping hand and be there for people emotionally. Um, in those heartbreaking moments of things where people were not available and have said things that were hurtful, like it, I don't know how much that's always been a part of it for me, but I guess deep down it was like on a very subconscious level. Like I can't even really imagine, but I somehow was like, that's exactly what I'm going to provide for everybody else is like, and I have been since I was probably like 7 years old. I would say like 7 years old. I was there for people and helping people. And a lot of that did have to do with feeling like I needed to be there for an addict in the family. So it's very like sacrificial. And I've even thought about not doing this, not helping people because of this, and not um, providing myself. And I haven't actually for a while. I have not been um, providing my services. I've not been like available for people. I've been available for myself, and am going to be working a normal job because I do want to just get in the habit of like serving myself more. But this is also like, and this is also something that I've been like curated to do. And so through the traumas often comes the gift as well. And I'm looking forward to taking time off. I'm looking forward to like doing other things, making money in other ways. Um, but it is like something I can do, and the most rewarding thing for me to do is to be able to like give to people and give emotionally to them. And I have been that person for many people in my life. Many of my friends can call me and they know, and they do, and have even before, like when I was in high school, middle school, and high school until now, especially when they're having a hard time. Like, not just like, hey, how's it going? Or, talking about the difficult things at this time when you can, like, when people have been like losing their shit. That's like, I'm always there and I've been there for them many times. um, and been able to help. And that's why I'm thinking of now volunteering for the hotline myself, because when you know, like, how to work through that and you know what things somebody needs to hear when they feel like life has gotten too hard, um, it's a huge skill, and it's very rewarding for me. Um, it's something that I want to like always be able to do. And it's something I'm very grateful that I can do. Like, it's something that I'm very proud of for myself, is the ability to be able to answer a call when somebody's like losing it and hear them and also give them tools and energy and love and wisdom that can help. Um, I've had people that just feel like they want me to just be there with them when they go through a moment. And that's also a beautiful thing. Um, and I've thought about now including it as like a special service for my business is, and maybe after I volunteer, I will. But is that service. So I do readings, I do healings, nutrition, many other things, but um, just emotional support. But one main thing that I would like to do is to offer like SOS help. So when somebody is like having a breakdown essentially and about to go into the mental facility or something, like I would love to be on call, and just see if I can help and see if something else can help, before going in there, because it's not, and it's so unfortunate. Like it's really not my own opinion. I would love to be hearing other stories, but I just keep on hearing about other people who have had a lot of trauma from there. And I think as a whole, like we as people are so afraid to admit that like nobody knows how to take care of anybody else emotionally because nobody knows how to take care of themselves. And some people do, and they're on the path of doing it and learning it. And I'm on that path. I don't know if I would say that I am there. I would not, because I recently just had a very difficult time and was not managing myself well with my family. Um, but I would say that that's the path I'm on, is the path of mastery in that. And it comes from brutal honesty like this. And just being 100% authentic and real and truthful, and not being afraid. Like, I mean, so much of what's behind emotions is people just being so afraid. Like, why did one of my parents say, like, the divorce never happened, or this isn't how people normally deal with divorce? That's so judgmental. It actually is. And sometimes is like very amicable, and we're all here and we love each other. It wasn't our experience. I did not hear from my parent for 10 years. A huge abandonment. We were best friends. Um, so huge effects on the child and me and adult psyche. Um, Especially throughout that time. And so while being with everybody and living in the home, mm, they're not all living together. I was living there with my mother, and everyone was around. That was just re-traumatizing and re-triggering for everything. So again, I heavily want to just place a huge warning to that experience. There's a reason why Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, like go home for a few weeks and see how it is. Um, but yeah, people are very afraid, like just of their emotions, things that were said from my family members. I can see why, I can see the fear. I can see that people are so afraid to admit these things that have happened. And we're all here. We all still love each other. So why, that may have just ruined it, you know? Why deny the truth? It is what it is. That was a healing moment that could have happened of, yeah, wow, and everyone can let it go, that I just opened this door to, and instead I'm told it's wrong. The person who's groundbreaking and breaking things open and trying to heal and help other people heal and cause a different future is told you're wrong so that you can remain within your reality. And the thing that bothers me is it actually took a powerful placement within the family. And so that's why I feel like I'm probably going to need to say some stuff because that's who I am. But yeah. Yeah, I'm going to need to save this so I can review it. Yeah, so cheers to the groundbreakers. Cheers to the generational curse breakers. Trepidatious warriors. Okay, there's a reason why my name is Freya on here and why my name is Freya1550. Very specific. Battle the fuck on. Okay? Like, love yourself, do it in the most loving, rosy, beautiful way. Okay. I have a rose here. I'm looking at roses right now. That you possibly can. Okay. Also, like, it's okay to be a human and have it be super shitty and hurt and suck and be difficult and to make huge mistakes yourself. And if you are on the path of generational curse breaking, all the power to you, all of the love to you, all of the grace to you, all of the healing to you, because it is gnarly. You will go through physical symptoms. You will go through huge emotional symptoms. You will go through mental and spiritual problems. Most likely, if you are a generational curse breaker, if you are somebody who sees things in your family and says things, okay, because there's a difference. You can see it and you cannot say anything. You can live your own new life and create a new generation from there. You can also say things, and that gets super messy. You gotta pull out when it's time, but it's an invitation for other people. And I think that it's brave. I think that I'm brave to have given that, given how afraid I was to be any source of power and fear of being ripped down in my family. And my family's not bad. They're not horrible. Some of them, one of them's real good, real like a lot better to me for me than others and how people behave. But yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey for sure. So anyway, I think that that's about it. I want to get up and get some water and smoke. But I just wanted to share some of the things. Like, I kind of shared a lot. I kind of wanted to piece together like my past and my like recent, and then my present now is a whole new chapter. I moved. I am not too sure about where I moved, but starting a new life and chapter. But it's very conflicting because it's definitely different than I was expecting it to be. Had things gone differently, and yeah, I'm trying to understand very clearly about the choices that have been made for me. And I feel pretty good about them. So, yeah, I wanted to connect these dots, and I wanted to also share a bit about my past. So that's why also my name is Freya1550. A 1550 is a call to the psych ward. The psych ward. The psych hospital, the hospital that you go to see a therapist. And if you're, I mean, I just was like feeling like scary, like S word. And I really did not feel safe around my family, and I had physically tried to remove myself and others, and it just all got bad. So we weren't too sure what was going to happen. That was part of the call and everything. That was definitely probably 90% those meth hydroxycut pills. Really don't recommend that. I don't recommend like any workout supplements that are that like they're gonna jack you up that much. Just be careful, because that was nuts for me. I was seeing a therapist and I brought them to her after I went in the hospital. Um, and she was like, okay, well, this is meth. This is 100% meth. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, see, it says methamphetamine. It's like, oh, I had no idea. That would make me skinny. So there's a lot of things that I could talk about from my lessons with that. I think I also had just stopped taking a anti-anxiety like out of the blue. Like I just stopped cold turkey, and so your neurology has a hard time kind of catching up real quick, and too many things at once. And that's normally exactly what it is it's too many things at once. It's always that. Anybody I've ever talked to who has gone through that is going through too many things. So yeah. Anyway, there's no other reason that I'm doing okay. Nothing's happening right now. It's just was thinking about some things and felt pretty like gaslit in a way by the judgments that like is placed on me by my family from me being an emotional person. Like feeling nuts at all, like that's so not cool. It's so not cool for anybody to like tell you or make you feel like you're crazy for your feelings. Definitely in the way that you can express them, of which I have owned. Okay, I am the first person that will tell you that I can go batshit sometimes if it's too much. Only if it's too much. It's not all the time. I'm not a literal on the walls kind of person. They're off the walls. But even if somebody is a fireball, there are people who are like that and are very well accepted within their families. So it's just, don't take shit from people. It's not cool. If you are sweet and kind, still don't fucking take shit. Be a delicate flower that takes no shit. Because you deserve it. And I think that's about it. I mean, I'm just going to bring this and go smoke. And pretty much, yeah, I think that's that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. 5150. Is that what it is, Polly? Yeah, that's exactly what it was, Polly. Scrubbing the wound. Yeah. Well, I ripped that sucker right on out. Almost like dug it again, it feels like. So I'm just gonna let it heal now. Oh my god, Polly, that's hilarious. Are you serious? Oh my god, that's hilarious. Well, then what the heck am I talking about? I'm gonna change my name as soon as I get off. Let me get a little candlelight. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There are tons of different ones, though. Like, can I get any light out here? Let me see. 1 second. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Let me see if maybe that'll be a bit brighter. Um, yeah, see, my aunt also went in, but that's a whole different ballgame. I feel like when I went in, they were like, the therapist lady wasn't there that day, and so I had to wait another day. And I had to share a room with somebody, and she was like really off. And I'm not judging, like my aunt is like that, but she was really there, okay? And she was tripping me out quite a bit. And when the therapist saw me, she was like, you need to leave. You need to go home, like immediately. This is gonna fuck you up. I was like, girl, it is. I was already here for 24 hours with somebody who's saying she's like Elvis's grandchild. It's just, it's a lot. Yeah, she was really kind. She made me a bracelet. I made friends with her. I took it as an immediate like trauma response, was like, go just try to learn. Like, you chose psychology, you just got to college, go try to just experience this. And I don't know what God, was filtering through me, but I did. And I just listened to my roommate, and she made me a bracelet and was just talking about how she was related to Elvis, and just pretty nuts, I mean, not nuts, I don't like to call anybody that, but it was just like, oh, okay, this is where we are. Very, very scary for me. Very scary. And I was young. I was 18. It's not like I was like 30 or 25. I had no idea really what was happening. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it. A friend of mine just went in on her own will, and I've thought about that. There's no shame in that. It's just that it doesn't really help sometimes, most of the time, unfortunately. For somebody who's like just having a hard time in an acute situation, because otherwise, like therapy or another healing way, healer, whoever you find comfort in. But for the acute moments of somebody who isn't like suffering from a bipolar episode or schizophrenic episode or dissociative identity disorder, or like, I mean, there's like the no, that's like the same thing. Yeah, something like that. And those breakdowns are quite different, but a manic or drug induced like break is also really gnarly, and I think that that's kind of like what I had experienced. Yeah. Yeah. Drugs, man. And this was a legal hydroxycut. Legal. But yeah, Paul, I'd love to hear your stories. I'm open to any stories. But yeah, I just wanted to share my story because it's mine. And I want to put it out there. And I want you all to know where I come from. I am not, yeah. if it seems like I've been going through some stuff recently, I have. It's not always going to be like that. But I am not just a little fairy tale creature. I am often that, and I'm also somebody with a lot of experience and a lot of depth. And those are only like a handful of things. That's not my life story. Okay, there's a whole other series and a whole other series being built. A lot of I feel like I'm on soft white underbelly. I honestly like might record this and kind of did. What inspired this is that I actually was going to record a video for soft white underbelly, and I saw it, the one that I had recorded, and I wanted to do it again, and I wanted to do it live for my channel. But yeah, these experiences did lead into other experiences with like partners that are all a part of just having a complicated relationship with parental figures. How we receive love, essentially, and what we perceive as love, or our lack of knowing what it really is. And the confusion of what happened for me when I was young, like I looped that experience, so I kept on picking people I didn't feel safe with and having problems and trying to communicate them and them not getting well or going well, and me struggling and not leaving it and not feeling well and becoming almost like unwell because of them. And in those situations, now I can look back and say, like, we often repeat an experience to understand it. And that's exactly what I was doing with my 18-year-old self, was repeating the experience of not being emotionally supported, trying to be. And I think it was trying to teach me, like, yeah, you're not, like, God, sometimes we have to like keep on banging our head against the wall in a way and be like, okay, like, this isn't where I'm gonna find what I'm looking for. And it took a long time. It took until I was like 28 to know exactly what I was looking for, and to be able to look back at my relationships and say, like, that's not it. And it's not it, just like my family, for reasons that are not, some of my family, necessarily like horrible. Like, they're not like horrible people. It's just that it's a plain Jane mundane experience, and it's not going to dive into emotional care more than what our generation before us has given. And I'm not here for that at all. In a time where we can have huge emotional availability, in a time where people actually care, in a time where people are actually like have phones and can connect and love each other and express that and communicate better and learn and grow and become more in their heart and are more in their heart. This is already existing. There are communities, festivals, experiences, people, groups, scenarios, a heart feeling that is happening and has been happening. And I've gone in and out of it through other experiences. And when I come out of one bad one, I go right back to my tribe and my family of those people. And I'm going to stay there. So yeah, that's that. I don't say where I'm from, but hello. So that's my story. I think I'm done. I got my hair done today. And I feel good about it. It needed it more than you all know. Okay, well, that's that. So I love you. I bless you. I think I'm gonna get going. I want to just kind of like relax and possibly have some cake. And yeah. So chat with you all soon. I love you all very much, and I hope that you take care. Okay, bye.